What's up everyone, Soldier First Class here, and today's mission, we've got a huge update for Final Fantasy XVI. In the latest issue of Famitsu Magazine, producer Naoki Yoshida and director Hiroshi Takai made a few statements about the game. The article also confirmed details from the Japanese trailers that shine some light on the story and combat. Some of this is repeated from previous info, but there is information that confirms some of our theories and speculations about the story. That being said, I've gotten a few comments lately saying that they want spoiler warnings anytime I discuss the story of this game, so if you are trying to go into this game blind, now is the time to click off this video. Thanks to iTaikimochi from Twitter, we once again have translations from this latest Famitsu article, and it confirms a few things we had speculated on. The article states, the protagonist is Joshua's knight who has sworn to protect him. In this world, without crystals, humans cannot survive. There has been much strife over the mother crystal in this world. This is something we could tell from the English trailer, but it didn't necessarily make it clear that the crystal's destruction would mean the death of humanity. We heard of the affliction known as the Blight, but it wasn't crystal clear on the intent of this plot mechanic. The next part states, Joshua is a young boy who uses fire to heal wounds. He is also called the Phoenix in the trailer, but could that mean he's... The summoned Phoenix and Ifrit make up the logo of the game. As the two clash, the protagonist yells, "Stop, stop it, he's my younger brother." Now this is something that I went back and forth on, and it was definitely possible that the protagonist was Joshua's brother, but it also seemed possible that the blonde knight could have been as well. So it would seem that not only is the protagonist Joshua's brother, but it's also confirmed that Joshua is the summoned Phoenix. The real question is, does brother in this context mean blood brothers, or is it like a lot of Japanese anime, where brother is closer to a friendship bond? This is where I hope the new world building and information website that's launching later this month will confirm these details for us. The main protagonist and Joshua don't appear to have much of an age difference, with a lot of Final Fantasy protagonists being in their teens or early 20s. If this were the case, they could have grown up together, much like Ramza and Delita from Final Fantasy Tactics. Delita served Ramza's family, but was also like a brother and best friend to Ramza. It's possible we're seeing the same type of relationship here, especially considering that Kazutoyo Meihiro is rumored to be the writer, and he helped with Final Fantasy Tactics. Next up it states, the game has an action RPG system where the protagonist can do a shift warp as well as use summon attacks in his moves. This is stuff we already figured out from the English trailer, but it appears that the main character is not a summoner himself, but as I suspected, more of a blue mage type character. He can use summon abilities like a Phoenix Wing, Titan's Fist, and what appeared to be Garuda's Claws, but he's not an actual summoner. It'll be interesting to find out how he actually obtains these abilities if he can't summon the icons they're derived from. We also saw that they'll implement the Final Fantasy XV style warp striking, but it doesn't appear that this will have the same implication when it comes to battlefield location. The next bits were basically just reiterations of the PlayStation blog article, but I'll paraphrase for saving time. Yoshida basically says that the trailer wasn't indicative of the final product, and that the real thing will look much better when they're ready to show it. He also mentions that the team started out really small, and as they went along, they picked up talent that could help them realize their dream for the project. He also promises a top-notch gaming experience and story, which honestly, that's the part I'm most excited about. It's been a long time since the initial announcement of a new mainline Final Fantasy game, and the story of the last few has been kinda lacking in my personal opinion. So for my most wanted aspect of Final Fantasy XVI, it's not the graphics, but a compelling story that makes me feel things that Final Fantasy back in the golden era made me feel. The last segment is from Director Hiroshi Takai, and to be honest, I think he deserves more credit than a lot of people are giving him. Yes, Yoshi P is the main developer of Final Fantasy XIV, and he's also the one that helped save the game from the huge embarrassing failure that 1.0 had become. However, Takai was directly involved in the process as well, and was another driving force behind 14's current success. He's also the director of Final Fantasy XVI, and for someone who most people don't recognize to become the director of a new mainline Final Fantasy, he's earned the right to get some credit. That being said, Takai also made some statements. Takai has been with the company a long time, having worked on the development team for Final Fantasy V, although he admits it was a minor position. He also worked on both MMOs Final Fantasy XI and XIV. He confirms the staff are working extremely hard every day in developing the new game, and states that they are putting their all into the project. It's easy to tell that these two love what they do, and love the fanbase they've worked so hard to obtain. I recently have been obsessed with Final Fantasy XIV, and am currently working on getting through patch 2.55 and then into Heavensward. Even though Realm Reborn is a bit of a grind, it doesn't make it any less enjoyable for me, and the build up to Heavensward is phenomenal. If they bring this type of quality to Final Fantasy XVI, which I know they have the capability to do, Final Fantasy XVI may become one of the best mainline Final Fantasy games in history. Yes, MMOs are much different than single player experiences, but 14 is a little different in that regard. It's meant to be played in either groups or by yourself, with everything in the main story outside of dungeons and raids being single player capable. So it's not like Yoshi P and Takai don't know how to make things single player, and that ability should transition nicely over to Final Fantasy XVI. Overall, we got a few confirmations about the story, discussed a little bit about the combat, and got statements from the producer and director. The team is hard at work, and even through the pandemic, they've been able to pull off some amazing things as we head into the next generation of gaming. I'm definitely excited for the official website to launch later this month and break down the information revealed on it with you guys. The lead up to launch for Final Fantasy games are probably my favorite parts of doing this YouTube channel, and in general, even if the final product isn't exactly what we had hoped for or expected. That's the power Final Fantasy has over us, and it's some of the most fun that we as fans can have. But enough of my mushy ramblings. Soldiers, what do you think of this confirmed information, and are you glad that this is the team handling Final Fantasy XVI? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to omnislash that like button. Let me know in the comments section below if you're excited for Final Fantasy XVI and the team behind it. Subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to join the ranks of Soldier today. And for all the latest Final Fantasy XVI news, rumors, and trailers, I'm Soldier First Class, and I'm on to the next mission. Later, guys.